I let myself look at Twitter once a week on Tuesdays, and I ran across this unfortunate video. And the thing is, I see crazy videos like this all the time, and the people have things to say about them, but no one ever says everything that I want to say. So I'm going to indulge myself and speak my piece about this unfortunate individual. Follow along with me. It gets better and better till the end. Every moment of this 50-second video is well worth dissecting.
If you're cis and you won't date trans folks, you're transphobe. Now if that made you mad, maybe it's your prejudices that you need to probe.
All right, I have to stop this already. And comment. Again, a lot has been said about this person already, so I don't need to go over it. Like, I don't need to go over how this person is not a very good singer, but clearly thinks they are, that they've written this horrible little melody that is worthless, and they should have just used a melody that already existed or stuff, because this is bad. And the smugness on this person's face the whole time is so cringe. And the fact that they do this thing, this is a pet peeve of mine in a lot of the videos that young people are making online, where it's like they want it to look organic or they want it to look professional. Like in this case, this should be a song that the person has memorized and is just able to sing. It's 56 seconds long. Like, they couldn't have memorized this little thing. Or other times people seem to want to make you think that they're talking organically, but you can always see them like looking at the camera. You can see them looking at their notes as if it's a teleprompter. In this case, it's even worse, because they keep looking down to the side, but then trying to make it look casual as if they're not looking at the words that they wrote, their little masterpiece down in the corner. So this just bothers me on an artistic level. I would rather them just be reading it off of a piece of paper than trying to pretend that they're not like looking at their notes and then being casual again. You'll see. I don't know if that drives anyone else as crazy as it drives me. Also, another thing that I don't need to mention is that this person, the whole premise, and this is a premise I've been hearing for many years in the online discourse and from some of the trans friends that I have, that you're transphobic if you don't want to date trans folks. It's always folks. What is it with people's obsession with the word folks in the woke world? Maybe it's because it rhymes with woke, but then isn't that just begging for them to be made fun of? Anyhow, for a lot of these people, it's like, it might not even be on the top 3 list of the reasons people don't want to date you that you're trans. It could be because you're an unattractive, autistic person who's cringe and who parts their hair in the middle. That could be a lot of it. It could be a lot of people who don't think that they want to date trans people, it's because they keep seeing people like you. And maybe if more of the people that they met who were trans were cooler, or the people that they saw online, if we had better representation from y'all, if it was people, because I've met some hot trans people, and if I were meeting a higher percentage of people who were hot and cool and kind and not weird, I think more people would, it's like you can then imagine yourself dating trans people. But when the representation is so much autism, then people are thinking like, oh, if this is what trans is, of course I don't want to date trans people. And you're making people more transphobic. Maybe more people would be like, maybe I could, even though I'm a lesbian, or I think I'm only attracted to non-trans people, maybe I could give it a shot. But the representation is so cringe that people think they don't like trans. And it's like, maybe what people don't like is you.
Now if that made you mad, maybe it's your prejudices that you need to probe. No matter the reasons you've got, you're reducing us to when we disrobe. And that kind of thinking ain't sophisticated. It's more like microbes.
Microbes. This is one of the most annoying things that the people who have this argument like to harp on, that you're being reduced to when you disrobe, or you're being reduced to genitals. We're called genital fetishists. Like lesbians who don't want to suck girl dick are told that we are genital fetishists, which is a strange thing coming from a group of people who often want to spend gobsmacks of money, tens of thousands of dollars changing their genitals. Like, they're allowed to have a genital preference for what they have, but we're not allowed to have a genital preference for what we put inside of us. But it's like, your genitals is not the only thing that makes you what you are as a sexual being, okay? The human species is a sexually dimorphic species. We are male or female. Yes, there are some DSDs out there. There's a very, very, very small percentage of people who have true intersex conditions, not like the redhead statistic that you hear. The DSDs that exist at the 2% redhead level, those are, almost all of them are ones where people still seem totally like men or totally like women on a phenotypical hormonal level. And even there's not like a lot of genital mixing up too. It's just maybe some people are technically XY, but they express completely as a female, and maybe they just can't have children, or vice versa, something like that. But in terms of like real DSDs, where you are kind of a hybrid case, where there's something about you that is truly kind of like in between male and female, that is extremely, extremely rare, and really doesn't have much to do with trans people, except that once you take hormones, you are making yourself into someone with a difference of sexual development. That being said, males and females are different, and we're not just different in terms of our genitals, and we're not just different even in terms of general body hair patterns. There are differences between our brains. There are different, and especially because of hormones. And those differences don't completely change just because if you are male and you take testosterone blockers and estrogen, you can feminize to some extent and you can demasculinize to some extent, but you can't get all the way to the point of what females are like. You just can't. Now, trans men can become much more masculine. You can masculinize. You'll never grow a real big dick, and you won't be able to get people pregnant, and you won't be able to pee out of your dick because it's already formed in a certain way that testosterone can't change. But in terms of your personality, you can become a lot like, pretty much you can become male, except that you'll be tempered from all the time that you spent having a female experience, like just your own experiences. Usually trans men, even though they go through a male puberty, once they take the testosterone, can become horny little boys, and then can become strong and very masculine and really seem like men. A lot of them just have some nice personality left over from being socialized as a daughter, socialized as a woman, having those experiences, having that kind of empathy. But they can masculinize. But trans women can't really demasculinize. You can't really put the genie back in the bottle. You can release the genie. Or another way I put it is, once you've gone to Vietnam, once you've gone to Nam, you can never have not gone to Nam. You can go to Nam if you haven't been. Does this analogy make sense to y'all? Like, once you've seen the shit of what it is to be male, once you've had violent sexual urges like that, like a very different kind of sexuality than females have, you can never have not had that. But if you haven't had it yet, you can. So trans men really do become much more male in much more meaningful ways than trans women can become female. So it's not just your genitals, it's your personality, it's how you smell, it's how your fat distributes. It's like, and it's physical things that are beyond just your genitals. Because when I'm attracted to females, it's not just I like pussy instead of dick and balls. There is that. I think balls are so gross, and most penises are ridiculous looking, although some pussies are weird looking too. I need to be into the person, so I'm never reducing anyone to their genitals. I don't want to fuck most women either. Okay, but I like curves, I like certain kind of fat distribution. I've seen trans boobs, and I still haven't seen any that I'm really into, because I don't like the way that they get kind of triangular and weird. Like, there's a weird kind of way that they grow on trans women. There are some cis women who have that too, and I'm not into that. I just know there's a certain kind of boob thing. I'm pretty particular about the boobs that I like. I don't like fake boobs either. I don't want them to be hard. I want you to have full nipple sensation. I need them to be natural looking. That's me. Not everyone feels that way, particularly biological men. Usually they want you, the faker the better. You know, you can have exactly the thing that their brains evolved to go big, round, fuck, you know. But for a lot of females, we're pretty particular about what we're into. And those of us who were into women, it was never about gender. It was never about, like, are you masc or femme? I'm into both masc and femme females. I am more into femme females. That's what I'm into the most. But there are differences about how your mind works as well. And it's not, in some ways, you know, science is still figuring out what male and female brain, to what extent we really have different brains, but there do seem to be some real differences, and especially hormonally, we are different. We are different. So when you're attracted to someone and you're saying, I'm attracted to males versus females, it's not about, do you wear makeup and heels, or do you wear pants and, you know, and for some people it is. Every different kind of sexuality exists, and there are some people who probably just are into whatever the culture currently says is masculine or whatever the culture currently says is feminine. There are people who seem to be like that. They're like, I like femme people. I like either feminine men or masculine women. There's people who have every different combination. But there's a lot of us who call ourselves lesbians who are females who are going, yeah, I like a female body, and I like a female temperament. There's a way that you move, there's a way you smell, there's a way you relate to people. You're more interested in people than things. You have a different communication style. Like I said, I've known some trans women who really, really seemed female to me, who seemed like women, who seemed like more womanly than I am. And I've been attracted to some trans women to some extent. And in some world, maybe I would have ever dated one. It hasn't happened for a variety of reasons. It's just not the path that I've been on. But this isn't helping. But there's some points I want to get to that I'm verging on that we need to watch more of her before we go on.
I know you think you've got good reasons, maybe you do. Trauma's real, it's hard to heal. I'd never say that that isn't true. But transphobia is transphobia, and you won't get a pass when we're through. We're human beings, not sex organs. Cis lesbians, I'm talking to you.
All right. A lot was said there. A lot. First of all, the fact that this person, and I know I've said she, I'm trying not to say he. I think that's wrong. I like to say this person for this person because there are some trans people, there's some trans women who seem like women to me, and there are some who don't. And this person is one of those where I don't think that she is like, I'm gonna pretend to be a woman to get lesbians to force them to sleep with me. I think this person is autistic and socially redacted, and that's my word for it. And really genuinely thinks that they are a woman, and is just swallowed the Kool-Aid from the Tumblrification of gender on. So they just don't realize how non-womanly any of this is. This person continues to do their smug little looks while talking about trauma. They say, maybe you've had trauma, but that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you've had trauma. You can still get on board with trans women. And always it goes along with this is you're still supposed to be okay with the dick. Maybe this person's had bottom surgery. I kind of doubt it, but usually these people say, because again, reducing you to when we disrobe or something, these people tend to be in this mindset of you should be okay with my girl dick and girl balls. They usually all call it a girl dick. I don't hear people calling it girl balls that often, lady balls. But that's often the idea. That tends to be the idea with these people, is that doesn't matter what genitals you have. They can still be male or female, whatever your genitals are. So this person's basically saying that even if you've been raped, cis lesbians, okay, hey lesbians, even if you have been assaulted by men and you aren't attracted to males, you should be attracted to trans women, or else you are a bigot. That is so gross. I just don't, what is this person, how do these people think that this is gonna work? That there are people like me, because that's what I am, right? They think of me as a cis lesbian, although I don't think of myself as cis, because in the paradigm where gender is, that we all have a gender identity, and it's some kind of internal thing about how we feel about ourselves and what our gender expression is, I don't think of myself as a woman in that paradigm. The reason I don't identify actively as non-binary or as a man or as a he, they, or anything like that is because I don't necessarily think that is the best paradigm for society to be invested in. I think it's better generally for us to just go, hey, there's males and females, and then we can have an enormous amount of variety in the expression of what males and females look like, and we can really completely de-rigidify the idea of what we need to wear, what we need to act like. I think men should be able to wear dresses and makeup and heels and do everything. I'm like a very, like, let's just all be free. And then I I think that modifying our bodies and our mind-body systems with hormones, like at least until we ever get to the day when our technology is so much better that there aren't an enormous amount of trade-offs, then I think it would be better for everyone to be more comfortable in the body that they are in than to be told that you're born in the wrong body or something like that. And there are parts of me, like I don't like my boobs, but I just wear loose shirts and I wear trans tape when I swim. And, maybe one day I will get top surgery just as a cosmetic thing because, just like lots of people, whether they're male or female, they don't like the way their chest looks and they want to get some kind of surgery. I would like to have a more androgynous chest. I would like to change the way some things about my chest look. But I would never ask my community to pay for it. That's something that always grossed me out about this whole movement, is that because it's your gender identity that we all need to pony up money to pay for your boob jobs. I don't have enough money. Like if there's people out there who have so much money, they want to donate to non-trans men who have gynecomastia and they have the weird big boobs and they want to remove and there's women who have small boobs and they want bigger ones, or huge boobs and they want smaller ones, or there's people who aren't comfortable in their gendered body and so they want to change their chest to look more like that. Like if you have so much money that you can donate to all of your friends who can't afford their diabetes medication and who get into car accidents, and you can also donate to everybody in your life who wants to change the aesthetics of their body, great. I don't have that kind of money, so I'm not gonna do that, and most of the people I know don't have that kind of money, and if I'm gonna ask my community for money, it's not gonna be for something aesthetic that I want, something cosmetic. But I get it, like I do understand a lot of bodily desires having to do with gender expression. There are things that I would like to change. I don't love the way my fat distributes, but it also distributes in a more masculine way than a lot of people out there. So I do have a relative kind of privilege of a lot of androgyny, and so I get that it is easier for me to take that position. And so I'm not like anti-adults making the decision to change their body to look more like the way that society thinks that someone of their internal gender identity should look so that they can be accepted as that. I totally get that. It's just crazy to then say, hey, people who of a certain sexuality, you should be into me. Like you can't tell, like we all have different sexualities. That's the thing. Like when we say lesbians, that's not even just one thing. Everybody calls themselves a lesbian. There's a bunch of different things that could be. Some people might say they're a lesbian because they have been assaulted by so many people, by so many men, that they are just like, look, I can only be attracted to women now. I just can't. Some people might be a lesbian in the sense that they are only into femininity, and that's what they mean by that. And so they might actually be attracted to not me, but to people who are only more feminine than me, whether they're male or female or trans or cis or whatever. So people can mean different things by lesbian anyway. So when you just say cis lesbians, you have to be attracted to trans people or else you're transphobic. It's like, well, I know lots of cis lesbians who are attracted to trans men and to biological women. So, but they aren't attracted to trans women, or they're not sure they are. I mean, that describes me. I've dated a trans man before. Although after a few months on hormones, I got sick of them, and I don't know whether that's completely to do with the transition or if it was just the 3-month cringe fall off that happens in a lot of relationships. But I'm not disgusted by trans people. I'm not afraid of trans people. I don't think transitioning is wrong. So I know I'm not transphobic, but I'm pretty squigged out by dick and balls. I've never touched them. I've never been like really up close with them, except one time when I was drunk, but it was like underwater and I, still didn't really get that close. And so the idea, I'm a 38-year-old lesbian. I know a lot of lesbians who have been assaulted by men, used to date men, were assaulted by men, and now don't want anything to do with them. And then, you might want to go to a play party, a kink thing, an orgy or something, and you just don't want penises around, much less you don't want to date them. So that's the other thing about this premise, that lesbians should be, morally should be open to dating trans women. You don't get, one of the reasons you don't get to make a moral argument about who you should be open to dating is because people have so many reasons for who they might date, especially if that person is dating to find a partner. Many people, especially women, are dating to find their partner. if you are trying to find a monogamous, long-term, lifelong partner, then you might have a lot of different things that you are going to roll out, versus if you're just dating in terms of, I just want to find someone to fuck for a while or for tonight, or I just want to find someone to dig, it'll be fun and we'll see, maybe it'll go somewhere, maybe not. Maybe you know, a lot of the kind of autistic-y trans people that I know have been very much into like group sex stuff and, you know, having kind of poly open things going on, casual dating. If you're in that mindset, well, it could make more sense to be open to all kinds of different people. But if you're looking for your partner, then you might not, you know, you might go like, look, I'm a lesbian, and if I'm going to have one partner, if I'm going to be monogamous and have one partner for the rest of my life, I want her to have a pussy. I want her to have a real pussy. You know, that's a totally reasonable kind of thing. The idea that you need to say, in order to make sure that I'm not hurting trans people's feelings, I need to be open to falling in love with someone who that I might genuinely fall in love. I might be able to fall in love with a trans woman, but if I did that, then that would mean I was sacrificing for the rest of my life having the kind of relationship that I really want, which is with a natal female who has some of the same experiences that I have, some of the same psychologies that I have, some of the, and a straight up real ass pussy. I want a real ass pussy. I don't, you know, I'd be curious. If I were poly open, whatever, I'd be kind of curious about like, oh, okay, let me check out some of these new age pussies. Let me see what the technology's up to. Maybe they'd be cool. You know, I'd be interested. Like, maybe can I fall in love with a trans woman? I don't know. Sexuality is so interesting, and women's sexuality can be fluid. And ooh, did I just? No, I didn't get it. So that could be interesting, but a lot of people are not dating that way. A lot of people are dating to find their person they want to build a life with, and so it could be very heartbreaking for them to meet someone who isn't going to have a real ass pussy, who's going to be on hormones for the rest of their lives, whose life could be really hard and in ways that you might not want to deal with. You already have to deal with being gay and all of the aspects of that make that harder. And now you've got to deal with someone whose endocrine system is fucked up. Their life's probably going to be shorter because of it, all kinds of extra cancer risks. And who knows what's going to happen politically and legally with all the changes. And this person might even detransition. Now what happens if you're a lesbian, you've just committed yourself, and now you've spent 15 years with this person and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, you know what? Turns out I could fall in love with a trans woman. Oh, now this person detransitions. Oh, fuck. Well, I don't want to be with a man, you know? So forcing people to say that like, you're a bigot, lesbians, even if you have been sexually assaulted by all the men in the world, to smugly sit there and go, you should still meditate on, yes, I can suck girl dick. Yes, I can suck girl dick. Yes, I can lick their hairy girl balls. Or maybe I can ask them if they, you know, shave their balls before I go out on a date. But then again, you're not allowed to ask trans people about their genitals. Otherwise, I'm a genital fetishist and I'm reducing them to their disrobed selves. So yes, I can suck hairy girl balls if that's what this person has, and I will not body shame them no matter what's going on. Like, dude, I won't even date a girl who has a full bush. I won't date a girl who shaves completely. If she says she insists on, I want to be a dolphin for the rest of my life and be completely smooth down there, I won't date her. I like people to trim. That's my preference. So I only want to date women who are 5'9" with curly hair and who trim their pussies. The idea that I'm like, and those are just preferences. That's not transphobia. None of that's transphobia. I don't think that's any of it's bigoted. I've just been alive long enough. I've dated women long enough to know what some of my tastes are, and I have high standards for myself. And guess what? I have the most gorgeous, beautiful woman who is 5'9". She has curly hair. She's trans curly hair even. She's a Chinese woman, but she gets her hair curled in this amazing way that technology is beautiful for. And yes, if she ever detransitions from curly hair for one reason or another, I will still love her. I'm madly in love with her. But this is what I wanted, and that's what I found. And I wasn't really very open to date. Once I was looking for my partner, I wasn't really open to other things. I wasn't really open to going, let me see if I can. I don't need to give a chance to someone who doesn't fulfill what I want. So This little autistic gremlin here can shove it all the way up her little backdoor pussy with telling cis lesbians who have been raped that they need to get over themselves and learn to be okay with sucking on lady balls. Okay? Shove it. No one, and again, the reason people don't want to date you, people's top reasons are probably not that you're trans. It's probably that you're gross and obnoxious. And we got to talk about that shirt. I don't understand how anyone is wearing a shirt like that, much less to post a video online. You know, when you transition, yes, a lot of people have an awkward time where they're trying to figure out their fashion, but who would see that shirt? I mean, I don't understand how this person could even see that shirt and go, yeah, this looks good. What is that? But also, like, you must not have any friends. You must not have any friends, because someone, if you had a real, like, maybe you think you have friends, but these are the kind of friends who are sitting there telling you you're brave and beautiful. You know, some people feel like they need to tell all the trans people that they know that you look amazing, even when they don't. That is not what a friend does. A friend, a real friend, would have said, what in the pre-transformation librarian is going on with your little fashion sense? No, bitch. Let's get you something that looks good. Seriously, what are you, 90 years old? And maybe one of the biggest problems with this whole video is this person singles out cis lesbians. Cis lesbians, I'm talking to you. Well, why not straight men? Why not include? Why not say straight men and cis lesbians, I'm talking to you? Is it because you want to fuck cis lesbians? Is that why? Because that's why when people say this shit comes off predatory, it's like, it's strange enough for you to be making the like philosophical argument that people who say they're lesbians should be attracted to people who say they're women. It's another thing when you single us out and you go, I have a particular grudge against the people I want to fuck. I want you, you know, I wanted to fuck lesbians and I transitioned, I did this whole thing, I put on this shirt and now you still won't fuck me? Again, I know cis lesbians out there who are fucking trans women. I might even have done it in a universe myself in which I wasn't already in a monogamous relationship and I was still out there dating people and I met that one that was hot, whatever. Like, and y'all have done this to yourselves a little bit by being so belligerent about this. You know, you gotta seduce women. You know, you want us to want to fuck you, you gotta go, and this is true for everybody. Anyone who wants to sleep with a woman, you know, you gotta be seductive. You can't say you have to be attracted to us or else you're a bigot. That's crazy. The people who have gotten with cis lesbians haven't gone that way. They've, you know, when I say seduce, I mean they've fallen in love. You get someone to fall in love with you, and I don't mean in a controlling. I'm just saying, like, that's what happens. If it happens naturally, then it happens. But when you say, if you don't suck girl dick, you're a bigot, like, you've turned off a lot of people. So this kind of video, I mean, this is one of these things where y'all have really piqued a lot of people. A lot of people who might have been open to dating trans women, if it had just happened organically, are going, I don't like the vibe of whatever this is. Don't tell me I have to be open to be attracted to you. That sounds like when I was religious, you know, I was raised Mormon personally, and the idea is like, yeah, and not just from the religious people, but also from just men being like, well, how do you know you don't like dick till you tried it? You need to be open to dick. You know, pray the gay away. Maybe this is what it feels like. You need to just pray on it, meditate on it, to make sure that you can be into dick that identifies as girl dick. And finally, but probably most importantly, we're not going to get a pass when you're through. When you're through with what? When you're through with what? I mean, for people who talk about how afraid they are of being rounded up into camps, which is something that I've been hearing for at least the last 8 years, this country is just full of so many Nazis who are about to round them up into camps. It's like, this kind of language of like, when we're through with you, sounds like the kind of people who were rounding people up. But let's be generous and say, what, you're through with canceling every last person who disagrees with you? And by canceling, I mean turning into a social pariah, making sure they can't work in certain industries, making sure they lose certain friends. Because I mean, I'm still in a career as a comedian, many of y'all have no idea that the whole world is not the Rogan world, okay? And that has its own complications for me to work in, but there's a huge big chunk of the entertainment industry and the comedy world that does not want me to have unorthodox opinions about the gender stuff. So is that what this is? When we're through doing our best to ruin the lives of cis lesbians who aren't dating trans women, like, it's such gross language. When we're through, like, I would like to hear what anybody says that that possibly means that isn't disgusting. That being said, we are at a time when conservatives have taken power, people who are more conservative on this issue in particular, and Trump is signing executive orders every day that are turning back all kinds of the trans stuff, and I think some of it is useful and some of it is overreach, some of it is just way too simplistic. Both sides of our political spectrum tend to be very binary about this stuff, and so I would urge all of us, as fun as it is to make fun of these cringy ass trans people who, I feel like I'm besmirching a lot of trans people by even calling some of these people trans. These cringy ass autistic people who identify as trans, as fun as it is to make fun of them, and it is, we need to have compassion for trans people, even when they are autistic and cringe. These are human people. Some of them are facing a lot of hardship right now, they all are. The culture is turning on them now. So let's not be in a spirit of revenge just because those of us who have been paying attention or who've been affected by it have spent the last 8 years feeling more and more cudgeled and truly being more and more cudgeled by people who are on a power trip. Let's not just swing the pendulum back all the other way and go, okay, well now we're gonna punish you for being crazy. And because again, there are so many trans people that you're not seeing on the internet. There's so many trans people who suffer from gender dysphoria, who are just trying to live their lives, who are not predators, who are not being weird about this stuff, who are not trying to cancel people, or even some who have a little bit gone that way. But look, that's human nature. There's some amount of that kind of stuff. This is Nietzsche said, if you stare into the abyss, is this Nietzsche? I think so. If you stare into the abyss, you become the abyss, or something like that. Like, let's not go, this is the tale as old as time, or at least as old as Christianity. The oppressed people become the oppressors, and back and forth ad infinitum. Let's stop that cycle, okay? We can have a sense of humor about this kind of stuff. We can all be compassionate to each other. Things are complicated, things are gray, things are not binary. Sex kind of is, but when it comes to what should be done in terms of the rights of trans people and the recognition of them, this stuff is really complicated. So it is fun to make fun of these people, and it's fun that we can all be more honest now about how we feel, or that a lot of people who haven't been paying attention as much are waking up to this kind of stuff. But please stay compassionate in your hearts, because this person is not representative of trans people. This person is representative of crazy trans people who are online way too much.